Hey guys, Jonathan Soda here, back again doing another movie review, and today we'll be reviewing Superman the movie. Now, why I want to review Superman the movie is because next month Birds of Prey comes out, and before that comes out, I want to review all the Superman movies and all the DCEU movies and the new Joker movie that came out last year. So we will be starting off with Superman the movie. Now, Superman the movie is directed by Richard Donner and features Christopher Reeve, Gene Hackman, Marlon Brando, Ned Beatty, Jackie Cooper, Glenn Ford, Trevor Trevor Howard, Margot Kidder, Valerie Perrin, Maria Schell, Terrence Stamp, Phyllis Stieber, and Susan R. York. Now, the plot of Superman the movie is it starts out in an alien planet far from Earth called Krypton. Now, Krypton is a big blue ice planet with trippy technology and people wearing white glowing suits with different symbols on their chest. We mostly follow on a scientist named Jor-El, and he gives us exposition about Krypton soon being destroyed because the Krypton sun in front of Krypton is getting closer and closer to Krypton, and it'll destroy it. And when it destroys, the sun will destroy itself. So so he says all this to the Krypton Council, but like none of them believe him. So then he just like so then they just like stay on the planet, and so does Jor-El too, because he feels wrong for like I forgot why he wanted to stay. But like yeah, so Jarrell stays. So Jarrell stays, but before he stays, there's one person in Krypton that he does not want to suffer and die in Krypton, and that is his newborn son Kal-El. Now he wants to transport Kal-El to Earth because Earth is the nearest planet with the most with life on it. But like it's very far away from Krypton though. So so yeah, so like they end up putting Kal-El in a tiny spaceship, and then like they fly him to Earth, but like the the spaceship is not autopiloted. It pilots by itself and just goes to Earth. But so yeah, Kal-El goes to Earth, and then Jor-El and all the Kryptonians die in Krypton. So so we cut to Kal-El in Earth. Excuse me. Sorry about that. My parents were coming home. So as I was saying about Superman the movie, we cut to Kal-El going to Earth. His spaceship lands on a field in Kansas, and these two old couples, Jonathan and Martha Kent, find a baby in a spaceship, and so they decide to keep it. But like um, as they keep it, their tire on their car gets flat from when the spaceship landed. So once they're fixing their tires, the um, Jonathan Kent places the car on this like stick thing, this like metal stick thing. I don't know what they're called, but then like the stick thing falls, and the car almost falls on Jonathan and Martha Kent, but the baby Kal-El lifts the car, and they see that the baby is not normal. That this baby just lifted a car. And so after that, we cut back 15 years later, and Kal-El is now in high school, and he goes by the name Clark Kent now. So him in high school, he's sort of a loser. He's a water boy to the football team, and he has a crush. I think he has a crush on her, or she might have a crush on him. But like, there's this like love thing. There's this small love thing between Lana Lang and Clark Kent. So yeah, but like Lana Lang already has a boyfriend, but like she doesn't really like being with him. She likes Clark. She looks like she likes Clark better, and so they start talking, and they start talking, but then he wants to roll with them in the car because they're gonna go eat somewhere and after the game. But then one of but then her boyfriend is like, no, you still got a lot to clean up, and there's a lot of helmets thrown out and all that. And he's like, okay. And so they all leave, and once they leave, um, Clark is carrying a football, and then he kicks it, and then it literally goes flying up in the sky. And so we cut back after that, and we see a moving train, and we see Kal-El running, uh, running as fast as the train, showing us that he has super speed. Excuse me. So Kal-El like runs as fast as the train, and a little girl notices it, which the little girl is Lois Lane, and she tells her parents about it, but Clark leaves before they can see it. They can see him, and so they don't believe her, and they just say that she has a writer's gift of imagination. And Lois Lane, we cut back to her later on, but uh, we're not talking about that yet. So after that, we still see him run, and then we see the group of football players and Lana Lang in a car, and so they see that Clark has beaten them to they see Clark somewhere, and they see that he went there so fast, even cleaned the feet the helmet so fast, and they're like, how'd you get here so fast? And he's like, I ran. which is a good laugh. So after that, we cut to him at home with Jonathan and Martha Kent, and Jonathan starts talking to Clark, and he tells him that he believes that he was here for a reason, and and that he's destined to do good things. And they talk about that, and then they end the conversation, and then he competes his dad to a race to go inside the barn, but he can't run, and he sees that he's dying, that his hand hurts, and he's getting a heart attack, and so he falls and dies. And so we cut to his funeral, and Clark says, all those powers, and I couldn't even save him, which was a pretty sad scene. So after that, we cut to later on that day while he's sleeping, and the ship that he arrived in calls to him, and so he goes in, and he sees this giant crystal that Jor-El accompanied him with on the spaceship before he left. So he has a green crystal, and that signals him to go to the north Arctic Circle. So we cut to we cut to him the next day with Martha Kent cooking breakfast, and she can't find Clark, but she sees that Clark is out in the cornfield, and so she walks to Clark, and he tells her, "I have to go, mother." She now knows this is the time where her son has to leave her, and so she says, "I always knew this day would come. Remember us, son. Always remember us." And so he leaves. He goes to the Arctic Circle, and he goes to where the green crystal wanted him to go, and so he's confused on why he wanted him there. So he just throws the green crystal at a random place, and then the green crystal drops in the snow, and makes a big castle that looks like something from Krypton, which later on they call the Fortress of Solitude. So Clark goes in there, and then he sees the green crystal. He sees these white crystals, and so he takes one and plugs one in a hole, because there's these big crystal fitting things, and so he plugs one in, and then he sees his father as a hologram in blank midair, and so his father tells him that he does not remember him, that he is Jor-El, and that he is his father, and that he is destined to do good, and it is forbidden for him to interfere with human nature, which means it is forbidden for him to love. And so he tells him more that he tells him more because he asks him a question saying, "Who am I?" And he's like, "You are Kal-El, and this and that." And and so we get more of exposition, and so later on later on we see Clark in a blue suit, which is his Superman suit, and after that he now knows his destiny to become good and save the people of Earth and not have them suffer the same way as Krypton. So so yeah, that's basically the whole plot of it, and then after that we cut to him 10 years later as an adult, and he works at a Daily Bugle place, but like he really discovers his disguise as Superman because he's like this nerdy fool in the Daily Planet. So that's the whole synopsis of it. Now, um, do I love this movie? Yes, I love this movie. I love mostly everything about it. This is actually the first ever superhero movie to be serious. Back then, in the 60s and 70s, and all the way before, all comic book movies were comedies, and they never took themselves seriously. But this was the first superhero movie to see a superhero's origin and to take itself seriously and not to be a comedy. But like this movie is funny at times, but it's not the purpose to be a comedy. The main purpose. This is our first ever actual comic book movie. And where would comic book movies be nowadays without this movie? Uh, so um, if it weren't for the director Richard Donner, we wouldn't have had serious superhero movies nowadays like the Dark Knight trilogy or the MCU and things like that. So yeah, and also this movie was the first movie to show a man flying. Back then there were um, uh, TV shows of Superman, but like they were shown flying in very fake ways though. But in this movie, you actually see him like floating and like flying around everywhere, and it looks so real. Yeah, so, and even the title card to the poster is "You will believe a man can fly," and yes, that is, and yes, you do believe a man can fly. So so yeah, the characters in this movie are really good. Superman, aka Clark Kent. He's a really cool character. He is you really care about him. You really care about his arc with his adopted parents and like his arc with saving the world and how much he cares for it. Yeah, and so also there's more characters too beside him. Like when he works in the Daily Planet, you see his co-workers, Lois Lane. Yes, Lois Lane from the beginning that saw him running as fast as a train, but like she never mentions that again. I'm thinking she might have forgotten, or I don't know why they never mentioned that. So yeah, Lois Lane also becomes a love interest to Clark, um, and Superman too. But mostly she has the hots for Superman. So so yeah, that's what I was saying. And so there is the boss of the Daily Planet named Perry White, who is kind of like a J. Jonah Jameson type of thing. He's a mean boss, and like he's yelling at people to get pictures of Superman and to like write stories about Superman and all that, and like he's so mysterious about Superman and all that. Like what's his costume made out of? Is it made out of silk? Is it made out of rubber? And this and that. And so and also there was another coworker in the Daily Planet named Jimmy Olsen, who is a photographer and takes pictures of cool things and of Superman in action. Yeah. So, any other characters? Oh yeah, and also the villain of the movie is Lex Luthor. Now Lex Luthor, he hates Superman because he hates how he's all strong and all that. Yeah, and so he's an okay villain. He has no powers. His main power is intelligence and weakening him with kryptonite, which kryptonite is his Superman's only weakness that'll stop him. Yeah, and so that's Lex Luthor, and Lex Luthor has two sidekicks, um, Miss Taskmaster, who is basically like his girlfriend, and what's his name, and Otis, who is his secretary. Um, anyone else? So anyone else? Let me think. I think that's all the characters. So and all the actors like Christopher Reeve, he gives out the best performance out of this whole movie easily. He is awesome as Superman. He is amazing. Literally, you believe he's Superman, and you believe that he has powers, and you believe that he wants to save the world. Literally, with Christopher Reeve's performance, you believe he's Superman, and with Christopher Reeve's performance as his disguised Clark Kent is really good too, as a nerdy person who wants to cover his real form, Superman. Um, so yeah, and Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor is really good too, and Margot Kidder is amazing as Lois Lane, and so is Mark McClure as Jimmy Olsen, and Jackie Cooper as Perry White. So those are the actors, and how could I not mention the soundtrack to this movie? The soundtrack is awesome. John Williams composed the shit out of this movie. I love the Superman theme, you know. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. I could go on. It's such amazing music. Yeah, and that whole opening scene with the credits and the music playing is pretty cool too. And the love theme with Superman and Lois Lane flying around the city is a really beautiful thing too. So yeah, and the pacing to this movie is really good too. This movie you can literally feel it's three movies. The first movie being Krypton, the second movie being Clark as a teenager finding out like what he is, and then the third movie being him as an adult saving Earth. And so it is very it's pretty long, but like it has a very good pace to it. Um, and also the action to this movie is pretty cool too, but like some of the effects are a bit outdated, but like it's fine. So yeah, you can easily tell when the effects are outdated. And yeah, the action yeah, so the whole ending sequence is really cool too. I don't want to spoil the ending sequence with the San Andreas Fault. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think I think anything else to talk about? Yeah, so this movie has like cool moments with Superman, like him helping out a train about a crash, and him blocking missiles. So yeah. Um, as far as rating goes, I think I'll give it an A, just a solid A. My only flaw is that some of the effects are outdated, but like that's just one flaw that really detraces it from an A plus. So it gets an A. So yeah, that'll be the end of the review. So bye and see you all in the next video.